Boeing. It's never a dull day in all seriousness. There's always something happening, whether it's positive, and unfortunately, for the most part, it is normally negative. And they've once more been thrown into disarray in the last couple of days. Just remember, after announcing a tentative labour agreement that they were hoping to get approved, and along with that, a little bit of a tidbit about a new commercial airliner that they would commit towards building. But now, they're facing work stoppages involving a colossal 30,000 plus workforce following union members rejecting that very contract I discussed a few days ago that would have increased overall wages. The union representing Boeing workers overwhelmingly rejected this tentative agreement, which will significantly impact Boeing's production more than maybe initially even thought possible. Boeing has long struggled with production woes, and I've definitely been covering that here on the channel, say, in the last 10 months. But really, they have been recently spurred on by the increased oversight from the Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, following a string of incidents that have led to overall a loss of faith and trust. But back to that new contract. So in total, 94.6% of those who voted on the agreement rejected it, while an even higher 96% supported the walk-off from their job, which has taken place. Following this walkout, you may have seen images publicised of employees right outside their home base of operations, standing outside with, say, signs protesting the agreement as they seek better living standards. According to sources, Boeing has historically not offered substantial new contracts and hasn't typically offered dramatic improvements over a lengthy period. This comes directly from employees that have, say, left the company in the last few years and can speak about how the 2010s really did operate. With inflation playing a major role in many people's lives, it hasn't been unusual for working groups to seek better pay, and this to keep up with the rising cost of living. In fact, right across the industry, several unions have sought those better wages with their members, and for the most part, even if it has taken multiple strikes, they've secured more acceptable contracts. However, employees believe that the overall rectified contracts coming from the American plane maker, even with the pay increase, were hardly enough to justify the overall cost of living and the job that they do. And considering the wages these employees currently find themselves on, an increase was very minimal. Employees affected range in varying degrees of roles, whether you are a toolmaker to a mechanic to those working on the production floor. Remember, this is impacting over 30,000 people that have so many different jobs, even probably you and I wouldn't know existed. It is an absolute machine in these places, and there are jobs aplenty. All these employee bases have equally shared the brunt of the struggles over the last half-decade. They face substantial overtime and increased pressures under past executives, among other things, some having reached breaking point a long time prior. Following the agreement's rejection, Boeing remained open to working with the unions to reach an agreement eventually, and this being a solution. However, rekindling the operation is going to be really important moving forward. Furthermore, this rejection adds more fuel to the fire for the new commercial airliner that was only highlighted a few days ago. In principle, as part of the plane maker's put forward agreement, they said they'd commit to building a new plane in their traditional home. However, the catch was that such a deal had to be approved, which it has not been at this stage. Furthermore, the aircraft would need to get the green light within 4 years. Therefore, you're looking at an entry into service sometime in the 2030s. While Boeing has to be forward-thinking, there's also a great deal of concern about its current state, let alone what it plans to release in the next, say, decade or so. Unfortunately, Boeing still can't certify its 2 remaining MAX family planes and has been forced to continuously delay its 777X's entry into service, let alone the many production caps placed on it. You do feel that while there needs to be a focus on future flying, of course, there also needs to be a focus on correcting everything that's really been wrong with the company in, say, the last 5 years. What are your thoughts on Boeing employees rejecting this labour agreement, and how do you see the next week playing out? Are Boeing going to come to the table, or are we going to see strike action continue? And if that is to be the case, it's just going to put the plane maker in further disarray. Let me know down below in the comments. Thanks a lot for your support, and I'll see you same place, same time tomorrow. And we'll fly. Oh, we'll fly.